What's up, y'all? Welcome back. So I was doing some work on the car for a video and we have ran into some technical snags. I'll explain those in that video specifically, but today we're talking about the Evo and the idea of a new Evo. I have some ideas and opinions, etc. So let's dive in. Alright, so look, in 2016, Mitsubishi decided, for whatever reason, they were going to stop making the Evolution and focus on things like crossover SUVs, which I can only assume was some corporate guy thinking this was the most profitable way to go. Or that super small compact cars were going to be the answer to all the problems they were having and they should put all their energy there. Now, don't get me wrong, I had a 04, 06 Outlander as a daily and I loved it. I put my stock Evo wheels on there, it was sick. It was white with black everything, just perfect daily and car to drive in the wintertime. Because where I used to live, those roads in the wintertime had more salt than a rum and flavor packet and I was not going to drive my car on that mess. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. So they stopped production of the iconic Evolution model. Now look, I don't know what the company financials were or anything like that, but let's be real. You ran the Evo 10 for almost 10 years with not a lot of changes. So personally, I don't think you could look at a balance sheet or whatever and be like, yeah man, these Evos are not selling anymore. Of course they weren't. It was stagnant. It looked basically the same for 10 years. And I get that it was probably uber expensive to redesign the car or update it or whatever, but you're telling me that you cut production of your most badass car and for what? To make more of these? So this car right here is selling enough to say, hey, you know what? Let's not update the 10 or do an 11. We should focus on this. This car, that's the one that's going to get us back on top. To be clear, I was never really that big of a fan of the Evo 10. It was larger, heavier, and to be honest, in my personal opinion, I didn't think it looked how an Evo should. It didn't have those sharp edges and like highly aggressive body lines. Now there are people that have turned these into some seriously badass cars, but still, to me, it began to look more and more kind of like an STI. And that was part of the fun from before, was they just look so different. Not saying that the STI is not really like a race car, because it most certainly is, because they're still using it today in rally. But the Evo was also a race car, and the 10 just didn't look that way to me. And sure, the STI had a similar look, but it was still able to pull off that aggressive rally look a lot better as it got newer. Wow, didn't think I'd ever say that. Now look, there's been talk of the Evo revival since, what, 2017, 2018? And at this point, I think everyone knows the chances of us getting a new Evo are few and far between. Like, that ship has all but sank. But if for some strange reason, the people at Mitsubishi actually heard their consumers and they're working on an Evo 11, please, for the love of God, do not make this thing a f***ing crossover. Like, just don't. No ifs, ands, buts, coconuts, whatever. Just no. I mean, just look what you did to the Eclipse. I mean, like, what the f***? Can you imagine the balls on the guy who suggested this? Like, they're all in a board meeting of their great new crossover, and some guy stands up and goes,
hey, let's call it an Eclipse, right? Because people love the Eclipse and it was an iconic sporty car in its own right. Let's make this the comeback.
Like, that guy either has no clue or has balls so big he has to have a wheelbarrow to get around with. Or both, who cares? The point is, that thing is most certainly not an Eclipse, and it will never be an Eclipse. So, don't you dare go for the blasphemic double down and bring back the motherfucking Evo as a crossover. If that is what you're going to do, I think that I can speak for everyone whenever I say, I don't even want you to bring it back. Like, honestly, don't even bother. Change the name to like The Stagnant or something like that. I don't care, because this was their concept in 2017. Now, the crossover was the darker side of the possibilities, but what if? What if this was all part of the plan of Mitsubishi? They throw us all off, they tease these crazy crossover ideas with the Evo name on it, when, in reality, they're working on a car much, much cooler. They'd wait for years, having us all hanging in the balance and the want and desire growing with every passing year. Then, out of nowhere, the news hits. Evo 11. The Evo 11, it's been reborn, has stylings that showcase the heritage and the future. The car world would go bananas. Now, also, in 2016, the people at Mitsubishi became part of an alliance with Renault and Nissan. Now go with me on this. What if they built off of that? Like a GTR base, and they tweak it, and it has those stylings that I just mentioned. Then, I think you're knocking on the door of something sick. Luckily, there's a render to help get this idea across, and this was done by an extremely talented guy, and his name is Rain Prisk on Instagram. I'll link him down below, but just take a look at this.
Holy moly!
This This is something that I could get behind. Now, it looks like it has about the same size body as the 10, so maybe tweak that down a little bit to make it look a little more similar to the Evo 9, but nevertheless, it's got a super aggressive front end. I'm not a huge fan of that chrome accent piece, but that could easily be turned into carbon, and that wing, those square end plates, that just screams Evo 9. It just looks like something that you could attach the Evo name to that would give it some sort of dignity or badassery behind it, not some crossover. And listen, this was all super speculation, hopes and dreams, whatever you want to call it, and I think we can pretty much guarantee that there's not going to be another Evo because crossovers and compact shits are the main focus now. But I'm telling you, if Mitsubishi takes that and they go back to the blueprints of the 4G63 and driveline package that worked oh so well, and they beef it up just a little bit, just enough to make your eyebrow raise, around 400-ish horsepower, they lighten it up a little bit, and they keep the price right around the price of an STI, you've got gold. Do not make this thing 100K plus like the NSX or the GTR. No one's going to pay that. You build an affordable beast like you had before, and you've unlocked cheat mode in the car game. So, I know this has been talked about a bunch and for years, and we're probably like beating a dead horse at this point, but when you see an image like that, you can't help but get excited and think, the possibility could be there if they just wanted to do it. So, let me know down below what you guys think. I would love to know your thoughts on this, and at the very least, we can talk about Evos down in the comments. And while you're down there, don't forget to do all the other YouTube stuff. It does help out a bunch, and it's free for you to do. Thanks for watching, as always. I do appreciate it very much, and I will catch you guys in the next video whenever we are working on the car with some goodies. Bye!